The MLB season continues as we get here to the end of April, and like Parker and I do each week here at Rally Cap, we like to talk about what happened in baseball over the last week and make some pick to click selections for the next 7 days. And Parker will get to our pick to clicks here at the end, but when we talk about this week in baseball, this week in MLB, we oftentimes will go to the previous 7 days, but all it takes for us today is to go to the previous 7 hours, where the Padres were sold for a record-breaking 3.9 billion with a B dollars. Parker, when I saw this number, jaw to the floor. Honestly, just jaw to the floor.
Yeah, it almost doubles the Mets record at $2.42 billion. I think the this is maybe the worst thing that could have happened to the owners going into this CBA negotiation. Because don't try
Yep,
to tell me
yep.
that buying these teams isn't profitable. Yeah, almost $4 billion is absolutely insane. It is to Jose Feliciano, who's the co-owner of Chelsea, the football team from Europe. Um, I just think it's so crazy that the Padres were bought for $800 million in 2012. This wasn't ancient history. eight
Oh my
hundred
goodness.
million dollars since 2012. So in 14 years, their value
Oh,
quintupled.
that's wild.
That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
So Parker, obviously how these processes tend to go is, technically this isn't final. I mean, there still needs to be an owner vote. So what happens is anytime an MLB team is bought, 75% of all the owners across the baseball teams need to approve the ownership. And as you may recall, there was a lot of hoopla about Steve Cohen buying the Mets and whether or not the owners or 75% of them would even vote for the approval. In this case, I'm not really hearing thus far of any kind of controversy around the voting of approving this, but there's also like a SEC Security Exchange and Commission review out of the government agency, city approval, you name it. So, however, there's really nothing that seems to be holding this up. The Seidler's been, it's very clear they've been wanting to sell. There's been a lot going on with that family, as we know,
Uh-huh.
a lot of bumps in the road, the death of a very popular owner in that city, unfortunately. But it looks like, if anything, the Padres, Parker, with this type of kind of ownership change, with this much investment in the team, this would make me excited as a Padres fan. This is a team that is very widely known because of previous ownership to be $300 million in debt. And they have spent so much on their MLB roster. And there have been concerns about how much they've had to maybe take a step back in the past years and in coming seasons. Maybe that changes, and I hope it does.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what happens. Like, do you think AJ Preller makes it through this transition? Do you think that he's going to be carried into the next regime?
Oh, I honestly did not think about it until you just asked. That is a very loaded question. Um,
I'm
it
not. We don't even
wow,
need to answer it right now, but I think that that has massive
wow,
implications onto what happens over the next. I mean, obviously it's the PBO, but like that's pretty
yeah.
weird to think about because he's well liked. He's also batshit insane, and everybody knows that, and everybody likes it about him.
Well, you almost gotta be that way to have that job, Like you gotta be. I think that's what makes him successful. I also do think it depends on what happens this season. And I know that's always the case for the situation, but if I
Yeah.
were Jose Feliciano and that new sales group or that new ownership group, I don't know that I'm making any rash decisions. Now, of course, that's just my standpoint. Anytime you step into a business and lead a business, I tend to think that you don't rock the boat right away
Mhm.
and that you really assess what you have. And I think with someone like AJ Preller, who is so respected, so skilled at what he does, um, you kind of got to wait a guy like that out and see what you have.
Yeah. So I especially like look at what the Padres have done here in the last few days. They're only a game and a half back of the division lead. in the NL West. They've had all these walk-offs, such really electrifying baseball. There's only two teams in that NL West that have a positive run differential, and it's the Dodgers and the Padres. So right now,
Yeah.
we're looking at a playoff team. Like, undoubtedly, this is a playoff team. They have the same amount of wins as the division leader in the NL East and one more win than division leader in the NL Central. So, like, this is definitively a playoff team if they continue to play the way that they are. And if they make it back to the playoffs with the expectations that they didn't really have at the beginning of this season, maybe AJ Preller gets a longer leash. There's a really, really good, I don't know if you've ever watched the YouTube channel, baseball, Foolish Baseball. Um, you really should. It's awesome. I think you would absolutely love this channel. But he just did like a 46-minute breakdown on all of AJ Preller's deals since he's taken over the Padres, and it's insane. You forget the guys that this guy has touched, signed, and then traded away, and then traded back for since he became the general manager of the San Diego Padres. But it's super impressive. And so if he can squeeze a little more and continue to run this team the way that he's running it, keeps working the way that it has, then I think that he does make it through this regime change. He's perfect for these Padres. If the Looney Tunes had a baseball team, it would be the Padres. Like, they have the coolest ballpark. There's a literal metal supply company that's a part of their ballpark. Their fans are absolutely rabid. Don Orsillo's a madman in the booth. They have 75 shortstops on their roster. Like, if there was a team that AJ Preller should be the general manager of, it's definitely the Padres. And to me, he's almost as much of the identity of the Padres as like an ownership group is.
It'll be interesting now that this changes upon the Padres, and depending on how they do this season, it will be an interesting offseason for the Padres. I know we always say that, but I really mean it this time. This one is
Uh-huh.
going to be quite telling here at the end of 2026. Parker, I want to move over to the East and technically the Central, I suppose, and talk about the Tigers because they have kept this streak of extending young players. Kevin McGonigle, their top prospect second baseman, signed to an 8-year, 150-year extension that begins in 2027. This is the biggest pre-arb deal that has been done here at the beginning of the season. And man, we keep saying, Parker, like, I've never seen this before. This is crazy. All these extensions. It just keeps going. This is wild stuff.
Yeah, he's 21 years old. He was the number one prospect in baseball entering this season. He's already accumulated 1.2 WAR, and he's tied to be sixth. First of all, my notes. Sorry, I'm trying to read them properly. He's been incredible offensively. How about I just say that? McGonigle's been kind of like everything that the Tigers really wished and wanted him to be. And the Tigers are staying a part of this broader wave of like lock up the young guy, Emerson Hancocks of the world, the Roman Anthony's of the world. Um, I'm missing one. Connor Griffins of the world, like all of these, like you said, pre-arb deals that have been coming down the pipe. McGonigle, it's so funny because it felt like the Tigers got this extension signed because every single day McGonigle took the field and played baseball, he was raising his price because he was doing so good.
Yeah.
He's super fun to see play. I saw him play in person when I went to go see the Tigers play the Padres earlier this season. And yeah, I don't know. This is awesome. I like that the Tigers continue to do this thing where they're making it more and more of an enticing place for somebody like Tarek School to be when you sign a Framber Valdez, when you lock up Hunter Griffin long term. They just had a really competitive, really good game against the Red Sox. They did end up losing that game against my Red Sox, by the way. Another walk-off in the Fenway Greens. But no, the Tigers look really good, and this only makes them better. It's super cool to see him. He's locked up until his age 29 season, which one of the most underrated parts about these deals for the young player is that number one, they are paid, and they are paid handsomely, and they are paid early. Number two, he's going to hit free agency before his age 30 season. Like, this is perfect timing for everyone involved. The Tigers get a discount on ARB money. They buy out, what is it, 2 to 3 years of free agency, and then McGonigle gets to hit free agency before he's past his prime. This works out for everybody. I love it. What do you think about
I do love it. There's nothing to not love about this deal. I think more teams should be doing them. I see my White Sox as being a team to do this, maybe even next year with one of their young players. But um, I want to go back to Tarek Skubal because this is the elephant in the room until it's not. And when you make a move like this with one of your top players who will turn out to be your franchise player on the offensive side of the ball, I I still think you need to throw the cash at Tarek Skubal. Like it not to say that this makes that a mandate, but it sure gets pretty darn close, right? Like if you're making this investment, you got to follow up with the investment to your pitching staff and a guy like Tarek Skubal. So, this just puts that under the microscope more, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I think the McGonigle extension is absolutely incredible. We talked about Jordan Walker in our video
Offense.
about like offensive leaders and stuff like that. So I think actually, this it's in our notes, but if you really want to hear about Jordan Walker and all of the stuff he's been able to accomplish over the last, first 3 weeks of the baseball season, definitely go check out that other video, like the video, comment on this one, and then comment on that one, and then like that one, and then subscribe, and then watch all of our other videos every single time you're on this channel. Watch all of them. Thank you. But I wanted to start another conversation that it's not in our notes. I wrote it as ESPN app versus MLB app. But what it really is I have a question for you, and that is, how do you watch your White Sox games digitally? Like, do you sit at your computer? Do you pull it up on your computer? Do you pull it up on your phone? If you do, what app do you use? How do you watch it? That's the first question.
Mm, Good question. So, they do have their own network for the Chicagoland area. It's Chicago Sports Net,
Uh-huh.
and they are Chicago Sports Network specifically. They're very particular about that, and it includes White Sox, Bulls, and Blackhawks coverage. So I have an app where I can watch. I have to subscribe a monthly subscription, and I can watch it on my phone, on my computer, or I can like project it to the TV, and I usually project it to the TV from my phone.
Okay. How much is that subscription?
Well, it's normally $20 a month, but because I'm a season ticket holder, it is free 99.
Okay. Okay. So that's different. I like that. That's a good perk. That's actually a
Yeah,
really, really good perk.
very.
So I, being a Red Sox fan, there's a similar thing. There's Nesson 360. You could spend $30 a month because the Red Sox are just so conscious of how much they
Oh,
charge their fans. You could spend $30 a
wow.
month to watch Red Sox games. You can't get Nesson 360 unless you live in the Massachusetts area, though, which means that I have to subscribe to MLB TV. MLB TV is now provided through ESPN, so I have the option of either watching on the ESPN app or on the MLB app. That costs me $30 a month. So basically, I wanted to start this whole conversation of, why does every app suck? Why is it so hard to watch your favorite baseball team? Like, I was doing this earlier because I was looking at like every single app that interfaces with Major League Baseball stinks. I was on the ESPN app and I was like, oh, I have two third basemen right now, and they are Michael
Uh,
Garcia and Alex Bregman. Which one do I want to start at third base? Well, Michael Garcia has been really good, but Bregman's been kind of hot as of late. I would like, why? Let me just click on their face. There's no way they don't have like the probable starting pitcher for today listed on the ESPN fantasy. No, oh, no, they don't. Okay, cool. So let me go over to the MLB app and click on today's slate and then scroll 6 miles because like the scoreboard section of the MLB app is terrible. Okay, cool. Click on that. Oh, probable starter for Michael Garcia is Cam Schlittler. Don't want that matchup. Let's find Alex. Oh, let me scroll another 6 miles to find the freaking Cubs game to try to see who he's playing against. Why is it so horrendously bad to navigate the digital landscape for the MLB coverage? Because it's not that way for the NFL. The NFL has a very good app. All the NFL games are on YouTube. MLB, it's hit or miss, but League Pass is more accessible, cheaper, and more widely available than anything the MLB offers. Why is it so hard to be a Major League Baseball fan?
God, that's a good question. And it's so self-defeating for them to not have a good digital product. And let me I guess be a little more forgiving of MLB because they have come out and said, Rob Manfred himself have even said, like, this
Hmm.
is something we're working on. This is a priority for us.
Hmm.
And I get it. But right now, you're right. It sucks. And I'm glad they've recognized they're trying to improve that or they're working towards that. Well, I'll give you one comparison because I will tell you, and you may know what I'm going to say. My favorite digital experience in all of sports, you know what I'm going to
Formula
say. What
One.
am I going to say? Formula One is the best
Yep.
app, the best footage, the best data, the best stats in all of sports. If MLB wanted to enhance the following and engagement with their sport, you got a carbon copy what Formula One is
Uh-huh.
doing.
I also just think, you know what I think is an interesting take, and I wouldn't have said this before this afternoon. Uh, do you remember when Apple started streaming the MLB games and they were terrible? It was like the announcers were bad, everything was bad. The
Yeah,
only thing good about it was the coverage. And I still think there's a lot to be desired. I still think the fact that they're putting like base hit probability at 20% in the bottom right corner is ridiculous. Like I just think
stupid.
that's dumb. Um, but what if like Apple did what MLS and what F1 did and just bought the digital streaming rights for all of MLB? Okay, or what if ESPN just basically did what Apple does for F1 but for MLB? Because at this
Um,
rate, I can't watch
yeah.
any time the Red Sox play the Angels, the Padres, the Dodgers. I can't watch any of those games because I live in Southern California and every single one of them is considered local.
Okay, so that's interesting, and I've thought about this, and I thought about it. I think I backed into it a different way, but basically the same concept. There is a layer of this, right, where there's an economics part of this, where these teams have their regional networks, they make a ton of money, the money goes back to them, there's less revenue sharing, all that funny stuff. But if you could figure out a way, kind of like you're saying, where imagine MLB TV, imagine that there was no blackout, they had rights to all the games, like what you're saying. And instead of paying $30 a month or me $20 a month for my regional stuff, would people pay 50, 75 like an F1 to have access to everything all year round
But you
across
don't pay
MLB?
50 to $70 for F1. I have a I have a Peacock Apple TV bundle and I get everything
Sure.
for F1 for free.
Sure, 100%. Now, let me explain that a little more. Like, I think that's a special scenario. I think the numbers there are different because if you were to go, like, Apple purchased the rights for that and they said,
Right.
"Hey,
And
with
they're
your Apple
subsidizing
subscription,
the cost.
correct, we'll subsidize the cost and also the subscribers for that are in the millions, like millions and millions of people." So, I
Uh-huh.
think that the economy of scale is a little different, but let's just put that aside for a second. If I were coming to you as a fan and I said, "You're not going to have a problem. You can watch every Red Sox game, every other game in the league, and I'm going to ask you for $50 a month on MLB TV." Are you doing that?
If you provide me an unbeatable opportunity, like that, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I need to be able to pay $50 a month and get every game that the Red Sox play, no questions asked, no networks asked, no matter what is streaming the game. I don't care if it's Peacock, I don't care if it's Apple. I need to be able to go to the MLB app, hit the watch button, and it loads. I would pay $50 a
I
month for that.
I would too. Quite frankly, I would probably pay a little more because inevitably, if they were to go to that model, you would have to make up the cost of not jumping into Peacock, not jumping into Apple. You'd have to make up the cost of the revenue sharing that goes to the teams that stepped away from a regional network, things like that. So it would be expensive, but again, like you said, access, product, quality, if all that is there, it seems to be a slam dunk. And I would like to think that's something they're thinking of moving towards. I'm not sure why you wouldn't.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't be as hard as it is to watch Major League Baseball. We can end it there because it's just getting to the point where it's the same rant we always go on in the same,
I
like
know.
depending on
It's
the day.
we could literally talk 30 minutes just on this and have it be a separate video because it's just like shit, let's solve the problem for them. We're going to do that. We're going to sit down, we're going to have a separate conversation. We're going to solve it and send it to Rob and he'll figure it out from there.
No, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's such a simple solution, I think, and that's the thing. You can sell the games to TBS, to FS1, to Peacock, to all where I
Yeah.
fine, whatever. I just need to be able to click on it in the app and watch it. If you're gonna provide me the app, first of all, it better work better than it works now. Because I don't know if you're not watching a ton of White Sox games in the actual MLB TV app.
Well, there's two points there. One, I can't for blackout purposes. I can't
Right.
watch any games in the MLB TV app, but I'm spoiled because I also get MLB TV for free as a season ticket holder.
Yeah. Okay. So MLB TV is so bad at what its one job is to. Every time it goes to commercial,
Yes.
it pauses.
Yes.
It has so
Yes.
many issues with just the game to game watching experience. It is unwatchable and unusable. I actually the other day closed the MLB app and opened the ESPN app because it was that bad.
That's rough. That is very rough.
I don't know. Anyway,
Oh,
let's do picks to click.
all right. All right, picks to clicks. Let's wrap up this week in MLB. So Parker, last week after last week's pick to click, our very first pick to click, I put me up 1. So it is Anthony 1, Parker 0. Last week, Parker, you had picked Chandler Simpson, the speedy stud out of the Tampa Bay Rays. I picked Taylor Ward of the Orioles. And Parker, who came ahead this week?
I did. Runs plus hits plus RBI equals 12 for Chandler Simpson, and I believe you said it equals 11 for Taylor.
Yeah, it was not a good week for Taylor Ward. It was a bad pick on my part, not gonna lie.
That's all right.
I
That's
was
all
so
right.
confident about that one too. I talked so much shit last week about that. It's okay. It's okay. Egg on my face. So I'm feeling good about this week though, Parker. I think I'm gonna get you. I think I'm gonna get back on top here in short order because if you're looking at runs and hits and RBIs, boy, do I got one for you because this guy in the last 7 days hit 5 runs or got 5 runs, hit for 12 hits and 11 RBIs. Okay. This guy had 28 would be his number. All right. He was on a roll and I think he's going to continue. I'm going Nico Horner, baby.
Oh, okay. That's not who I thought you were getting at. All right. Nico Horner. That's a good pick. I will raise you Mike Trout.
Oh, you're going all in. I see.
Mike
Okay.
Trout. So now that you pulled it up, I hear, hold on, year to date, last 7 days, home runs in the last 7 days. So Mike Trout over the last 7 days, runs plus hits plus RBI. Are you ready?
Is it like
7 runs,
40?
11 hits. That's 18 plus 14 RBI is 32 total points.
So last 7 days we had 32 for Trout, 28 for Horn. That's tight. That is tight.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Trout's probably not going to hit another 5 home runs in 4 games during this next week, but hey, maybe he will.
Man, those are good picks. Those are good picks. Make sure you're stay tuned. Every week here at Rally Cap, so we give you This Week in Baseball. We have Pick to Clicks. We have a bunch of other stuff we're talking about. Make sure you follow, share our videos. Thanks for hanging out with us here at Rally Cap.